You're listening to Grain of Salt, a podcast hosted by Donnie Burtless and Krista Glennie Seishu, covering the Buffalo Niagara region's food and drink scene. Today's episode features Adam Goetz from CRāVing on Hurdle Avenue. Donnie talks to Adam about his time in New York City at the Waldorf, why he loves to cook, and 6 years as a Nickel City chef. Also swearing. Lots and lots of swearing.
Whole year, this whole summer, spring and summer and fall were incredible because they had that farmers market.
Yeah, right there in Hurdle.
And it was a ritual. Me, Shelly, and my Sue Pat, who you've met every day, every Thursday, 3:00, hop in Shelly's car, and just buy everything.
Everything like, you can get.
We had no plans. We had nothing. It was just.
That's awesome.
We're gonna change the menu based on
Yeah, is that like a recent it seems like that's become more of a thing at CRāVing than maybe it was at Sample.
I think the difference is we have way more of a steady influx of people that are coming into CRāVing where I can do what I did when I was in New York. Here more than I could do it in Allentown.
In Allentown, yeah. It seems like the move has really worked out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, absolutely. But I don't know. We've just been able to cook the food that I trained myself to cook for across the. I mean, I worked across the country.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I met you. Like, I knew that you had worked other places, but I think it was at, like, Krista's Christmas party 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, when we were just hanging out.
Yeah, when we were hanging out. It was, like, really the first time I got to meet you and like, have an extended conversation. And you were talking about, like, your time at, I'm not going to remember the name of it. The big hotel.
Oh, the Waldorf, yeah.
The Waldorf, yeah. Like, that. And you were telling stories about just...
I'm telling you, man, I could write a fucking book on that.
You're just telling like about like stages and kids, and you'd just be like, "Don't stop making mashed potatoes until I tell you to."
Oh, it's fucking insanity. It's insane. I mean, that place was insane. But the cool thing about that place was, every single day, you're doing an event at night for like between $950 to $1,250.
That's.
Every night, right?
That's like a joke number. Like I can't even imagine how that.
It's a joke, but the real joke was so you're putting the dishes out, you're putting the food out. Sometimes it was plated, sometimes it was French service.
Yeah,
where it's two or three waiters with a platter, and they're putting the food on each customer's plate. But the shtick was. At number 565, right? We would pull everything and we'd make a plate and we'd eat it.
Oh, really? It's a quality control type thing?
Yeah. And the deal was that it had to be restaurant quality at 537.
Yeah.
The same at 1, the same at 1,000, the same in the middle, and all that kind of ridiculousness. And it was the dumbest, most ridiculous place I've ever worked at in my life.
Is that kind of one of those things though, where you just put in so many hours that you learn so many things so quickly because like the massive amount, or?
I think what happened was I know what happened was so you're talking about $90 million a year.
Wow.
Food and beverage revenue.
Wow.
Right. And however it happened, that food portion of the $90 million a year was 5 guys were in charge of it. 5 guys at like 24, 25 years old.
That's insane.
It was stupid. Like this hotel, this like internationally renowned hotel, handed over basically their entire food and beverage department to 5 guys who were median age 25 years old.
Wow. How old were you when you started?
20 there, probably 23, 24.
Okay.
But we did everything. You know, Katie Couric comes. She wants to do a party for 1,000 people. I got to give her, 6 different tastings to make sure that she's gonna enjoy and like what we're serving her. And then all of a sudden we serve them, or we would do stuff where it would be like, best story in the world is. So this guy, I don't even know who he was. Somebody with a ton of money in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Comes in. My job and my. Oh, we're already recording and doing this.
Oh yeah,
right
yeah.
Now. It's funny. So my gig for the longest time that I was there was I was the guy who was going to help a client decide on their menu.
Yeah.
Okay. So the salesperson would call me down and be like, okay, tomorrow afternoon someone's coming in for a party of, this is how this whole story goes, a party for like 100 people.
Yeah.
Right? They want something really slick. Money's not an option. They love seafood.
Wow.
Okay, cool. So we come up with this idea where we're going to do scallop and brandade ravioli. So we make brandade, salt cod, reconstituted potato, the whole deal. And we take scallops, U10 scallops, huge, thick golf ball scallops, and we fillet them. We pound them. We stuff the brandade in. Then we put another pounded thing of the scallop in, and then we have to steam them.
Wow.
And the proteins seal together, so you've got this ravioli with no pasta.
That's
the
awesome.
The pasta is the scallop,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Now, we're doing 3 to a plate. It's 100 people. We got to make 300. That sucks, but it's not the worst for what we had to do on a daily basis. So, that's really cool. But then the fucking night of the event, like 2 or 3 days before the event, the fucking salesman calls me down. He's like, oh, they jumped from 100 to 300. So now we got to make 900 of these fucking things.
On like a short notice.
On 2 days' notice. And we're like, oh, yeah, cool. Great. But it was always, the highest quality thing. And the thing that it taught me was it doesn't matter how much you're doing. I don't care if you're doing 1 or you're doing 1,000. It's got to be right.
Yeah.
It has to be perfect. And it makes you not afraid of anything.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I fear nothing.
Well, because, how big is the CRāVing's dining room now?
38 seats.
Yeah. And so, at this point, obviously a rush is, when you're in the rush, the dinner rush.
Oh, listen, Donnie, it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll tell you, we can sit here and be like, oh, CRāVing has 38 seats.
Yeah.
Plus 14 at the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy, right? Well, we're doing it with 5 burners because 1 burner on the stupid 6-burner stove that I have has the water boiling for pasta.
Yeah.
Me and my sous chef are cooking. We are hip to hip,
Yeah.
dick to dick for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Trying to pump this food through.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah. It's not an easy
But
job.
on the same token, it's like,
do you remember when we had to make 1,000 people food?
yeah, you sit there and you're like, no, this is a joke. And to this day, it always makes everybody extremely, extremely mad. I get these guys that come into work and they look at the buck. I've got this awesome open table system there.
Yeah.
Ton of web reservations. They can see who's coming in, when they're coming in, where they're seating, where we're going to be bottlenecked, what's going to happen, when's the problem of the night going to happen, and all this kind of stuff. I can tell you unequivocally, I never look at that thing at all.
No, I'm going to tell you that does not shock me.
When 5 o'clock hits, there could be 4 reservations, or there could be 120 reservations, and I don't know the difference because we're just doing what we do, and we're just rocking it out. Now, my sous chef will secretly, look and get everything done, because the gig is if I reach my hand out to go grab something, it has to be there. That's his job.
Yeah.
And he does it better than anybody anyone I've ever worked with before.
Nice.
But I don't care. The ticket machine starts to go and we roll.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So how did you end up in New York? Like what was your entry to the restaurant scene? Was it here in Buffalo or?
Well, I got tricked.
Okay.
So when I was 20, 21,
yeah,
I opened up the now closed, well, you guys all know it as Cozumel.
Oh.
But it used to be Elmwood Outback.
Okay. Elmwood Outback?
Yeah.
Wow.
Name infringement, big suit, all that kind of shit.
Awesome.
Mexican joint. I was cooking in a place in Amherst. A friend of mine from high school, two friends of mine from high school wanted to open it up. They needed a kitchen guy.
Nice.
And we opened it up.
Yeah.
Now, everyone has whatever feeling they have about that place now, but 20 years ago, we were the place to be in Allentown. We were packed. We were having a blast. We were doing everything, and honestly, we were having a little too much fun. So,
as a 21-year-old, never.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible situation. So this friend of mine who I grew up with, actually went to a couple years of college with at Fredonia, was living down in Florida. Wanted to get out of Florida. He was going to move to Colorado. He bet me $100 that on like February 10th, I wouldn't meet him in Kansas to pick him up to move to Colorado.
Wow.
So on a $100 bet, I was like, I got to get the hell out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
I need to learn my craft. And I drove my 84 Canadian Oldsmobile Calais that like everything was in kilometers and shit.
That's awesome.
Picked him up and drove there. So we were in Colorado for like 2.5 years. My wife now came out to Colorado. We lived there after she graduated. We went to New York for like a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
To visit a friend of hers, but the whole thing was a fucking setup.
Unbeknownst to you?
Unbeknownst to me. The two of them were like, okay, so we're going to take him to Central Park. We're going to go to, Union Square Market. We went to the Gotham, El Portale, who is from Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah.
For this fantastic meal, who we actually know Al and his sister, got treated like complete and utter rock stars. And by the end of the weekend, I think I was asking my wife, Jennifer, I was like, so what is it, what's it going to take for us to move to New York?
Wow.
And it was 4 months.
Damn.
4 months of humping it in Colorado.
Yeah.
Until we had the money where we could go to New York, and then we did it. And she ended up being able to transfer from her job. Mm-hmm. And it gave me the latitude to be able to kind of find the gig that I really wanted, which ended up being the hotel.
Wow. That seems like a pretty big jump.
It was. It was funny because I ended up going to the hotel for they had a posting for a sous chef job.
Okay.
And I went in there for that. And the thing about New York is it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have. Yeah. There's experience, and then there's New York experience. So my New York experience obviously was 0. Yeah. But I was an executive sous chef of a huge country club in Colorado, PGA Tour, all this kind of stuff. Knew my stuff, knew how to do things. Walked in there like, okay, I'm gonna be able to get this gig. And the chef was like, basically like, you're a joke. Like, I'll hire you at an entry level, as a commis, entry level position.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I told him, I said, look, I'll take that entry level position. But I'm going to tell you right now, 6 to 12 months, I'm going to be running this whole place for you. And he looked at me and was like, fuck you, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
But sure as shit.
That's awesome.
I think it took me 14.
Yeah.
And and then we were doing everything. And then we were having fun, and we were
wow.
Rocking and rolling.
How long were you at the hotel for?
I'm horrible at that, but it was about 6 years, I think.
Wow.
That we were in New York.
So
7 years.
So you really got some miles put on.
Yeah, and it was fun though. I mean, the coolest thing about New York was, now granted too, pre 9/11.
Yeah.
What do we always say? People were lighting their cigarettes with $100 bills in New York.
Oh yeah.
Before 9/11.
Everyone had the expense accounts, and
I mean, we did everything. I mean, I what I did doing these parties, doing all the VIPs, doing all the menu development, doing all this kind of stuff. I sat there. I had no restrictions, no food costs, no budget, no nothing. And when I was coming up, I was fortunate enough to work for a guy who took me under his wing, and if he would just walk by and he'd be like, "Do you know what this is?" and rattle off an item, a food, and I'd be like, "No, I've never heard of it." And then the next day, all of a sudden, there'd be 10 pounds of whatever it was on my station when I walked in at 7:00 in the morning, and I'd be like, "What am I supposed to do with this?" He'd be like, "Figure out how to cook it." But it could be anything. It was, again, now you're talking, I'm so fucking old, but you're talking 15, 16, 17 years ago, it'd be, pom-pom mushrooms, even back then, Kumamoto oysters and stuff like that. This is stuff that now is almost common day, but back then wasn't.
Yeah.
And I would just get thrown this stuff in incredible. I got paid to learn how to be a chef, and I got paid to learn about hard to find incredible ingredients. Because, nowadays it's all about, how can we keep everything as fresh and as local as possible?
Yeah.
And I embrace that, and I love that, and I like to think that I'm contributing to that on a daily basis.
Yeah, for sure you are.
But 15 years ago, it was all about, how
ingredient.
fucking far away could I get something from?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were going to say how good it was, like the best.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always about the best either, though. You know what I mean? It was about...
Exotic?
Yeah. Like, I'm writing a menu, and I want to be able to say that I'm getting my shit from...
Hawaii.
France or Hawaii or, wherever it is. Like, look at us. We're so fucking cool that we're importing this stuff.
We paid $1,000 if it's overnight shipped.
Yeah. Which was cool and it was fun.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden now we're all being educated on the whole carbon footprint, on the whole, keeping money local and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely changed.
And it changes your mentality.
Yeah. But it seems so, like, just from, knowing you and seeing kind of some of the, hearing about, like, you working with your staff, it seems like you've almost taken some of that teacher or mentorship role now with your current staff, where you're trying to introduce them to maybe not the exotic ingredients, but practices of, like, butchering a pig or breaking down animals or whatever.
I do. But I read this cool article a couple months ago. Somebody was reporting on Chris Constantino from San Francisco. Awful Chris on Twitter, all this stuff. Awesome guy. Great food. Fantastic use of the ingredient and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so I read this article, and he was talking about, nose to tail is cool. And it is.
Yeah.
But, how do you take that to the next level? Meaning, for instance, so I might get a huge freaking box of carrots with the tops on from Arden Farms, from Dan.
Yeah.
Well, let's nose to tail that.
Yeah, let's not throw out the tops.
Let's use the tops for a couple different things, and and let's do the whole deal. And I'll have conversations with guys, especially freaking Gedra. We'll sit around the bar and we'll talk, and it's all about 100% yield.
Yeah.
You know, how are we going to do? How can I use every single thing that these guys are giving me?
Yeah.
And it becomes like a mentality. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough. My guys buy in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we did Big Fuss the other day. We sold a friggin' what we called a stem relish.
Yeah.
And it was all the stems of all the greens that I bought all friggin' summer and fall.
Yeah, yeah.
That we pickle, we store.
That's awesome.
And it's great. And it tastes like, you know, bread and butter pickles.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But let's use it all.
Yeah.
These guys grow it. Mm-hmm. We're buying it.
Yeah, why not? Why just throw it out?
You know, no bin. I mean, we try to I don't know. Our level of success is the fewest amount of garbage that we produce.
Nice. I like that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I want you eating everything that I serve you on the plate. If you can't finish it, I want you to love it enough that you're going to take it home.
Yeah.
And when we're preparing it, I don't want to be throwing anything out ever.
That's awesome. That's an awesome mentality to have.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, these guys work hard to produce it. We work hard to prepare it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Use it all, right?
Yeah. None of us are
I don't think this is like a big
No, I mean
epiphany or anything.
No, but I mean there's a lot of places that don't do that. I mean, we're fortunate that the places that do are growing and becoming more prominent, but yeah, there's plenty of places that are tossing out perfectly good stuff because people maybe aren't familiar with it and they just don't think that they even want to try to sell it. I don't know. But so when did you come back to Buffalo? Like what?
I'm horrible at years, but my son, my oldest, is 11.
Okay. So
about 11 years ago. Okay. About 11 years ago.
So 2003-ish.
Yeah. So I came back. I was courted by the Park Lane.
Okay.
That's now gone.
Yeah, that was on like the Gate Circle.
Gate Circle.
Yeah.
I was courted to come back by the Park Lane, and they originally took over the Statler in one of its many revitalizations.
Yes.
And, you know, I was young. I had a son.
You want to come back home or?
Come back home. I mean, I'm from here. My wife's from here. Our family's all here.
Yeah.
You know, I tell everybody, you know, I grew up. I had a fantastic family. I still do. And I had no grandfathers when I grew up. Now, here's my firstborn. He was going to be able to come home, and he was going to have like 5 between like great-grandfathers and you know, different families and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, like, yeah, absolutely come back. And it was great.
Was there any hesitation about you're coming from like a huge scene like New York City and coming to Buffalo? Was there any hesitation that you were nervous that Buffalo was still behind the times or any of that type of stuff? Or?
There was nervousness, but, you know, that whole adage of Buffalo being behind the times is bullshit.
Even back in 2003?
Even back in 2003, and especially now.
Yeah.
You know, I hear it all the time. And Buffalo's not behind the times. Buffalo, you know, we'll call Buffalo, you know, whatever.
The greater Western New York area.
The palate of Buffalo and all that kind of stuff. You know, Buffalo has a great palate.
Yeah.
Buffalo knows what good food is.
Yeah.
Buffalo might not know the vocabulary of all of the avant-garde food.
Yeah, certain ingredients or preparations and things like that.
But when you put it on a plate in front of them,
yeah,
Buffalo, it's either good or it's not good.
Yeah.
You know, you can cook with a fucking thesaurus, or you can cook good food.
Yeah. I will say I will give credit that I think Buffalo, for the most part, has a good bullshit detector, and can see when people are trying to just do something.
If anything, if anything, I think it makes chefs better.
Yeah.
And truer.
To put something that just tastes good on the plate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, we'll sit around and we'll talk. I don't care who it is. People who've been on this podcast before, people that everyone knows. It could be Gedra, it could be Roberts, it could be anybody. We'll sit and we'll talk, we'll think about things, go over dishes, figure things out. But the bottom line is what's on the plate.
Yeah.
Somebody has to take a fork, scoop that stuff up, and put it in their mouth and eat it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can make it pretty. Mm-hmm. You can make it look nice. But above all, it has to taste great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that some people hide behind that stall out that Buffalo supposedly has. Mm-hmm. But I think it's bullshit.
Yeah. It hasn't prevented you from doing what you want to do.
Listen, man, if I'm gonna make you a plate and put it in front of you,
yeah,
and every single thing on there, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
But when you scoop that shit up and you love it,
yeah, are
you gonna love it less because you don't know what's on the plate?
Exactly.
You're not. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cop-out.
Yeah. But do you think, though, that there is maybe more of an educational process that chefs have to have?
I think chefs need to be true.
Yeah.
I think chefs need to be true to what they want to do, and I think chefs need to be true on what's on the plate.
Yeah.
Presentation's great. We've all heard our whole careers that everyone eats with their eyes first.
Yeah.
But you know what? Ultimately, people eat with their fucking mouths.
Yeah. That's a true word.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Tell me it's great.
Yeah.
You've got this huge influx of all of these people that are opening restaurants, that are...
Yeah, this year is insane.
That are moving, that are maybe not opening restaurants for themselves, but they're shifting chef positions. They're doing all this kind of stuff. There's this huge fucking shakeup.
Yeah, it's crazy right now.
And it's nuts. And when I left...
Yeah.
20 years ago...
Yeah.
Which is fucking insane to me that I could even say that 20 years ago I left.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm rounding up, but, 19 years ago.
This guy was 3.
Yeah. That's stupid. Stupid. But, like, the leaps and bounds
that we're at right now
that has happened.
Yeah.
Is insane. And you've got a lot of people that were born here, cooked here, left here, and decided to come back and raise the bar.
Yeah.
And it's not just about raising the bar that's on your plate, though, either, though, Donnie. It's like, it's raising the mentality of the next generation of being like, this is the right thing to do. Like, if you're sourcing right, if you're doing everything right, there's very little as chefs that we have to do to anything as long as that product is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I've had dishes. I mean, we're serving, like, roasted beets with some local greens and, a vinegar that we make and, something else, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's a great dish, and it eats fantastic. And I didn't do shit to it.
Right.
It's because somebody else grew that stuff and made it fantastic. Like,
yeah. So, was your... I don't know how long you were at Park Lane, but when you decided to open Sample in Allen, was that you wanting to continue the bar? Like, because when Sample opened... It was doing something that really not a lot of people were doing, especially with the tasting menu and the small bites and stuff like that. Like, was that you seeing maybe a void in the dining scene and wanted to try something different? Or
I don't know. How do I approach this? we'll approach it, and we'll approach it quick. You know, it was a way of eating that I ate.
Yeah.
And originally it was a way of giving people a complete dining experience in one sitting. Mm-hmm. And I think the problem with Sample was it was a little too, you know, I guess what I warn young chefs about now is a little too contrived.
Okay.
And maybe a little bit too cerebral in the sense of trying to get a customer to do what you want them to do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a romantic thing though with chefs to have their passion and be like, listen, this is what I want to do, and if you don't like it, like, screw you. I think that is how some people think.
Well, yeah, but romanticism doesn't.
It doesn't pay.
I got 3 kids at home.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah, yeah. But I would say that it did work. I mean, you were there for quite a while, right?
Well, listen, I'll tell you, I've been fortunate enough. I've been 8 years self-employed.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
You know, every chef that you'll see, anybody in the kitchen, you walk in that back door, I'm sure you've been in 100 of them. You know, we're all living the dream.
Yeah.
You know, with that huge, thick sarcasm that's coming at the end of that. You know, but I am living the dream. You know, 7, 8 years.
That's pretty great.
I'm not answering to anybody.
Yeah.
Sample was Sample. It was a great experiment. It didn't quite work out for me in a long-term scenario.
Yeah.
But it also introduced me to a ton of local chefs, to you, to a lot of people in the food scene.
Oh, yeah.
And for me to be coming back from New York, and for me actually to be gone when everyone else was coming up and working together.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't there. All these chefs that are chefs now, chefs that are opening their own restaurants.
Yeah, no,
I never worked side by side with them because I was in New York. I was in Colorado.
Yeah.
So, you know, it gave me a platform to be able to meet them, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the cool thing was that now at CRāVing, I was able now to do what I really wanted to.
Yeah, it rebranding it allowed you to start anew, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just here's my food.
Yeah.
You know, the whole idea behind the name was we weren't going to pigeonhole ourselves into anything. And it was, this is what I feel like cooking today.
Yeah.
If I go to the market and I see this stuff, this is what we're cooking.
Which is awesome. Which is how people like me who really just love food, I think, want to eat.
Yeah.
I think the ideal is that people are slowly getting to the point where they're... I talk to a lot of people who go out to eat, and there's a group of people who will like go on a website and like know what they're going to get to the T as soon as they walk in the door. Like, they need to feel comfortable that they want what they want and they're going to order it. But I think there's a growing portion of people who are willing to like let go and like kind of let the chef cook what he wants
a trust.
To cook. Yeah.
It's a trust.
There's a trust that's building with chefs in the area. And that's what's exciting. That's my favorite part of your restaurant. You have a very nice like standard menu, but when me and Allie go in, like we just go straight for that specials, and that's what we go to town at.
You know, honest to God, we have people that come in and these poor servers hand them the menu and they just shut it. You know, they snap it closed and like give us a special sheet. You know, what is he doing today?
Yeah,
and because it's just a funny thing. You know, sometimes it's a kick on ramen.
Yeah,
so we're doing that. Sometimes it's we got a whole lamb in from Stillwater Farms, so I'm gonna figure out how many different ways can I break this animal down and serve it to somebody. You know, obviously it's consistent. It's, you know, whole animals from Rich at T Meadow.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just a ridiculous scenario that goes on with that, because what ended up happening was now I get these pigs in, and I don't really have a lot to play with.
Yeah.
Because we're only serving house smoked Tea Meadow ham.
Yeah.
So that whole part of the animal's gone, right?
Yeah.
And we're only serving house Tea Meadow smoked bacon.
Yeah.
So that whole part's gone. And then, it just builds on itself where it's almost like I painted myself in a corner where now, like, shit.
Yeah.
We just have to do it. But the cool thing is that so many other guys are doing it too,
Yeah.
I love the I'm new to the charcuterie game.
The charcuterie game has blown up in like the last 2 years.
It's huge. And I ended up finding out for myself that I love serving a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
But I actually find it kind of hindering in the sense that I want to cook with what I'm making.
Okay.
And not necessarily put it on a platter.
Like the instant gratification of like...
Not instant gratification, but the simple fact that like I can throw some whole mussels up. I can make culatello. I can make fiocco. I can make loans. All that kind of stuff. I've made it all, and we can do it all.
Yeah.
But I love, making guanciale and using it to cook. Okay. I love making pancetta and using it to cook and create a dish.
Yeah, yeah.
My charcuterie program isn't necessarily about putting it on a board. My charcuterie program is more about putting it inside of dishes.
Nice.
And also my charcuterie program is more than pork.
Oh, yeah.
Or lamb or beef. I look at charcuterie as, we're making our own sauerkraut. We're making kimchi. Like, to me, that's the whole deal.
Yeah.
My wife just bought me the other day, and we've talked about it before. Sean Brock's book just came out, Heritage.
Yeah, Heritage, yeah. I've not read it yet, but I've heard only good things.
It's balls deep. Balls deep.
Yeah.
Fell in love with this guy from Mind of a Chef.
Yeah.
And he's got a chef's his manifesto in the beginning. And the last entry for his manifesto is, he who dies with the biggest pantry wins.
Yeah.
But it's all about preserving all this shit. And that's, to me, that's charcuterie. It's not just whole animal. It's all this other stuff. So, like, I'm super psyched. I look at all the snow outside, and I'm like, I'm giving myself until December. And it's like, there's going to be so much fucking snow here. And I'm going to do dishes, and I'm going to have pickled ramps.
Yeah.
I'm going to have spring onions.
That's crazy.
I'm going to have scapes because of all this stuff that I preserved.
Yeah, yeah.
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, that everyone else is like throwing into pasta and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it's cool. I'm not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah.
I'm doing shit that everybody did for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
Up until 50 years ago when
everyone.
They decided to flip the script on everything and be stupid.
I think that Mind of a Chef is going to change how a lot of communities' chefs work. Like, just from talking to people locally, like, it seems like that show is reinvigorating a lot of people and, like, just getting people excited about different things. I don't know.
Well, no, you're right. I mean...
There's going to be food geeks like me and you who will just stay up and binge watch, like, 6 episodes.
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
But, like, a lot of those people are going to bring those ideas to the restaurants or to how they... like maybe for me, right? But then there's also going to be like the people who just turn on PBS and catch an episode, and now they're fascinated with heritage seeds and like growing. Yeah,
you know what it is though, man. It's
or heirloom seeds. Right?
It's I don't know how to describe it. It's a mentality.
Yeah.
It's whatever it is. If it's My Name is Chef, if it's, for me, 15 years ago, it was a Escoffier.
Yeah.
For me, 8 years ago, it was, Thomas Keller French Laundry.
Yeah.
If it's me right now to give me a little boost, yeah, I'd call it. It'd be Sean Brock's book Heritage. It's this mentality of a responsibility and trying to do things the right way. Everyone's always going to say, however you cook, whatever you do, you're either going to do it right, you're going to do it wrong. It's going to be to this person's palate or that person's palate. Your style is going to be spot on for that table or a little off for the next table. But if your heart's in the right place,
yeah,
that carries through pretty hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think people can taste that.
Yeah. I mean, I think people can taste the soul, old book again, soul of a chef. Like people can taste that shit. Try it, do it, love it, put it on the plate.
Yeah.
Might not be your thing, but at least you can taste that this guy's trying or this girl's trying.
Yeah.
And it can be amazing. And that's the whole, everybody talks about like how many, how much is happening in Buffalo.
Yeah.
With all these restaurants and all this kind of stuff. But to me, the most exciting part of it is I don't know, the commitment.
Yeah.
That everyone's making.
Yeah. Or like we were saying, the enthusiasm.
The enthusiasm. Like do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it for real.
Yeah. I think like maybe a good way to close this up is you've been a Nickel City chef since the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? And so what Krista, who is a co-host of this wonderful podcast, has done is provide a platform for people to see chefs who are as enthusiastic as some should be. Do you think that, like, do you think being a part of that program has changed anything about the way you cook or the way you think about presenting yourself or any of those types of things? Like, you are exposed to a complete different audience maybe sometimes.
I would say,
it's definitely a unique scenario.
Hands down, the best thing that ever came personally from Nickel City Chef was right or wrong, it formed this club.
Yeah.
Of participants, of audience members, of all these kinds of things. And the amount of fellow chefs and the amount of people that I met through Nickel City Chef has been amazing.
Yeah.
She formed like this conduit of, well, I'm never going to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Because we're all working.
Yeah.
And
when do I have time for that?
When am I going to meet this person?
Yeah.
When am I going to meet this chef? When am I going to meet this owner? When am I going to, like all this kind of stuff. And she formed this thing on a Sunday afternoon where, well, now we can meet. Even if we're not competing, like we're meeting, And the other thing about Nickel City Chef that is funny as hell is that, it's really not a competition.
No. I think everyone is in it for, like, the experience.
Fuck. I've been doing it for 7 years.
Yeah.
I probably have the worst fucking record. I'm like the fucking Cubs of Nickel City Chef. You know what I mean?
We're going to have Tommy insert, like, where he says your record right after this.
Yeah, it's horrible. Insert record now. It sucks. But, I've always approached Nickel City Chef as, I've got an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to do something that no one thinks they can do in an hour. That's always been my game since day one.
Yeah.
You want to make biscotti? Biscotti takes 2.5 hours. I'm going to make it in an hour. You want to braise fucking pork belly. It's supposed to take 45 minutes, and then you got to let it rest. You got to do everything. I'm going to fucking take care of that. It's going to be an hour. Everything I've always done there was about pushing the envelope and about doing it. And I've lost a shit ton. But I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's not about that. It's not a round robin tournament to see who the best fucking chef in Buffalo is.
Yeah, no.
It's about, let's rise the fucking tide, man. Like, let's talk about food. Let's get 180 people sitting at Artisan Kitchen and Bath excited about food.
Yeah.
And let that spill over and let that be cool. And I don't know, that's the whole thing about the Buffalo food scene right now. It's young.
Yeah.
And I love that everyone's opening. And I love that they're going to carry that torch. And I love that they all have this ideal that they're going to do all these incredible things. And I hope that they can keep them. And if they can't, then they'll keep some faction of it. But, make it better.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Anything you're going to do, just make it better. Or make it cool. Make it the right way. Make it from scratch. Source locally. Do all these things. Have that gauge in your head.
Yeah.
That moral compass.
Yeah.
That you're doing the right thing. Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell your staff short. Don't sell your customers short.
And
it sucks. If you want to make shit from... what are we? My restaurant, 95%...
Oh, yeah.
Scratch.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's a lot more work.
It's a ton more work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We did I did a talk at NCCC a couple months ago, and we talked about what ended up turning into the cost of being cool, right?
Yeah.
Talking to 150 kids who are all going to get ready to graduate, who are all going to be going to work with all of our friends.
Yeah.
Right? That's all they want to do. Whatever. There's 10 of us.
Yeah.
10, 12, 15 guys and girls that they want to work for. And there's 150 of them.
Yeah.
We don't even need any of them, but we're going to try to hire one of them just to be able to perpetuate the thing of culinary talent needs to stay in Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
But so it ended up turning into this whole cost of being cool. Yeah, it's awesome. You want to get a whole fucking pig in, you want to get a whole lamb in, you want to get a side of beef in, you want to pickle your shit, preserve your shit, make your shit, do all this stuff. But your staff has to be on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to sell the...
You got to be you got to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And not just your front of the house, selling it to your customers. Your back of the house has to be your kitchen guys have to understand every single thing we're doing. We're making, you're going to make ham, you're going to make bacon, you're going to make all this kind of stuff. They have to love it, because if they're not on board,
you can taste it.
You can taste it, and it's a ton of work that just goes to the shitter.
Have you found that it's been easier to find the kids that are more into it right now, or to find staff that are buying into the plan?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody's leaning
that way
towards
people who are in the restaurant industry want to be in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, I think people are leaning towards, what I think is the right way.
Yeah, which is what matters, I guess, in your restaurant.
But on the same token, who am I seeing?
Yeah.
I'm hiring the people who think the same way that I think.
Yeah.
But it's not a trend.
No.
It's the way it should be.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've had guys sitting here talking to you, and it's not about local, it's about quality.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think Ed was saying that on Chris's podcast.
Yeah. If local prevails,
that's great.
Fantastic. But it's quality that prevails.
Yeah.
And we've gotten to the point now where If we can get it locally, we're going to get it.
Yeah.
If we can make it,
even better.
We're going to make it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to buy vinegar.
Yeah, it is cool.
If I can have right now it's stupid, We probably have 25 different flavors of vinegar.
That's awesome.
Ready to rock in the restaurant.
That's really cool.
So why am I going to buy it if we can do it?
Yeah.
And
you can do it how you want it.
Right. And I think that's, I know it's my mentality, but I think it's also the mentality of what's happening. If you can control it from start to finish.
Yeah.
How far can you back it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the coolest thing for us is when we started making all the vinegars was, so we're gonna control the flavor profile, and we don't have to add oil to it.
Yeah.
Because it's not as acidic, and we're gonna do all this cool stuff with it. That's just one little peek into like how we think about everything that we do.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It has to be fun too.
Yeah, you can't sell your plan to these kids and then just have it be torture.
No, yeah, it can't be hell. It can't be hell.
There has to be some payoff.
And screw the kids too. It can't be hell for me. 20 years in, I got to still have some fun doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck Mike does it. Mike's been doing it for 40.
Jesus. Yeah, I have no idea how that man's
but you got to. It's always something new. It's always learning. It's always pushing the envelope. It's always doing something, and it's always. I think it always, what it is. It always boils down to making good food.
Yeah.
So if it's the best meatball, if it's the best, whatever it is, chicken finger sub, I don't care what it is. Just make it the best that you can make it.
I want to meet that kid who's really passionate about making the best chicken finger sub.
Yeah, that would be psychotic, right? that would be something.
It would be something.
Get some. You know what? That's what we need. We need like an artisanal chicken finger sub shop. What?
Put it on the
put it on
the CRāVing board.
We got a freaking place. They're gonna have fries now, and we're only gonna serve fries. We're gonna have.
Yeah,
a hot dog place. We're gonna doggies, whatever the hell everything's going on.
Yeah,
we need a guy who's gonna make his own bread. He's gonna get free range, organic.
Let's get some old chicken
tenders, and gonna bread them with fucking bread hive, fucking stale bread. He's gonna make hot sauce like fucking Roberts and fucking mash the shit
for
2 years out, and then we're gonna get the hot sauce with fucking butter made from First Light cream on top milk, and then he can make his own cheese. We'll get lettuce from fucking Play-Doh Dale. We'll do the whole fucking nine. Artisanal fucking...
Tom, I hope you're writing all of this down.
It'll be genius. He could put a kiosk at the Market Arcade. It'll be brilliant.
I love that idea so much. Oh my God, Adam! I don't know if we can go out on any finer note than artisanal chicken sandwich shack. I have to say thank you so much for talking.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I've wanted to talk to you for years, and I'm so glad we got this to happen. And I think it's very obvious that when people go to your restaurant, and especially with your special menu and what you guys are doing, that they can taste somebody who's really passionate about what they're doing. And so keep up the great work, and I'm so happy that Hurdle Avs works so well for you guys.
Oh, grazie. It's all about having fun, and honestly, it's hilarious, but that's really all it is. That's for awesome. Us.
Yeah,
fun, good food, and we serve what I happen to be craving that day.
Awesome. Well, keep up the great work, man, and thank you.
No, cool. It's been 2 years, and we're finally sitting down.
We've made it happen. Thanks, man.